he never actually took a part in any of our negotiations between the United States teams and Ukrainian teams. So he would, Witkoff, he would be able to hear what is actually things, how they're going on. And even the conversation with the Vance and the President Trump in the White House didn't go well, just because of this, for the same things. Some of the arguments we heard before from Moscow and RT, not from the reputable sources and our discussion with our American colleagues.
Now, the talks between teams from America and Russia in Saudi Arabia have now been going on for more than 9 hours. They're discussing the terms of a potential ceasefire in Ukraine. Obviously, no sign of any agreement yet. In Washington, though, Donald Trump has now told his cabinet, he's been sitting at the cabinet table, his cabinet around him, the media there, and cameras taking pictures of it all. He's been telling the media that a deal on minerals, on the extraction and ownership of mineral rights for America has been agreed. And he said the deal will be signed soon. We can talk to Vadym Prystaiko, the former Ukrainian foreign minister and who is a former ambassador to the United Kingdom. Welcome to you, Vadym.
Thank you. Hello.
Thank you for coming on. So there's Donald Trump telling us just a few moments ago there's agreement on America taking ownership of mineral rights in Ukraine. Is that good news? Are you encouraged by that?
Frankly, myself, I would love to hear the formulation that we are together with the United States and our other partners are developing this business, not taking over the rights of Ukrainian minerals. But if the words are different but the meaning is the same, that's fine. We hope that the United States will provide in return some sort of security guarantees. That President Zelensky made it clear we're interested in security guarantees as of now, but we need to work something with the partners. Let it be this rare materials deal.
Okay, so we're told by President Trump there will be a Ukrainian signature on that contract, presumably that of Zelensky. I mean, without a security guarantee, without a promise from America to be available to physically support a peacekeeping force in Ukraine made up of other allies of Ukraine, without that guarantee from America, is this mineral deal worth very much?
You're totally right. It's not the best time for us to talk about the minerals. Some of them are actually the occupied territory by Russians. So what we'd love to have is just to understand how far these offer from the UK and France go with the peacekeeping, peacemaking forces supported by United States. If it is the key to support logistic, intelligence, material support to the allies, that's good for us, good for now.
So far, though, there seems to be no guarantee unless something has changed or is about to change. Meanwhile, we did hear, didn't we, from the US envoy, Steve Witkoff, over the weekend. He was talking to the podcaster Tucker Carlson. I'm sure you're very familiar with that now. Let's just have a listen back to some of that, some extracts from that conversation.
There have been referendums where the overwhelming majority of the people have indicated that they want to be under Russian rule. I thought he was straight up with me. It was enormously gracious for him to accept me. I don't regard Putin as a bad guy.
Do you think the Russians want to march across Europe?
100% not. There's a sensibility in Russia that Ukraine is a false country,
right?
That they just patch together in this sort of mosaic, these regions, and that's the root cause, in my opinion, of this war.
Well, Vadym, what do you make of those comments by the guy who was, after all, the envoy to Ukraine, the envoy in these talks of the president?
I can tell you the only one thing, that first of all, he's never been doing with Ukraine before. So everything which was told to him, he's taken as the value of words, which is not each and every time working with the Russians or with Putin himself. Second thing I'd like to tell you that, expecting that any sort of referendums under occupation will show you the real will of the people, it's a bit naive.
Okay, so naive is one way. Yeah, naive is one description. Are you one of those who fear that you may be sold out by Washington?
I'm still trying to be a diplomat here, but I would expect him to come. But, he never actually took a part in any of our negotiations between the United States teams and Ukrainian teams. So he would, Witkoff, he would be able to hear what is actually things, how they're going on. And even the conversation with the Vance and the President Trump in the White House didn't go well, just because of this, for the same things. Some of the arguments we heard before from Moscow and RT, not from the reputable sources and our discussion with our American colleagues.
No, you believe they're just echoing lines from the Kremlin. Let me just put a point to you from the American or the Washington point of view, the White House point of view. Do you accept it is simply a statement of reality that Ukraine is not going to expel Russian forces from Crimea or from any significant part of those areas that are occupied by Russia now in Ukraine?
Our position has been from the very beginning that we will never recognize, and that this is maybe not the answer you wanted to hear, but that's our principal position. When the time will come, when we will be able to do what we believe is fair, and not just from the point of view of international law, but historically fair, that's totally different picture. We hoped that with the help of our partners, UK, the rest of Europe, we will do it. If United States still want to be a part of this, that's the success recipe.
Okay. Well, your hope is pinned on your other allies, not necessarily America, giving you the backup you need to stand by your
Because it
right
is
to
Europe.
sovereignty.
It's common house. You might not be a part of European Union. We are not part of European Union. We are talking about our house, Europe, as a continent, as a piece.
Okay, now, another point concerning the coalition of the willing, as it's called. There were talks last week. Apparently, it's reported that, on the British side, the United Kingdom was looking no longer necessarily at putting troops on the ground, boots on the ground in Ukraine. It might be about air cover. And France was talking about the possibility of a UN-led force. What do you make of ideas like that?
I actually, some years ago, told that when we're fighting with a much bigger adversary, like 5 times bigger population than us, and we're still standing, that's because we've been backed by our partners. But we are running out of finances and ammunition, but we're also running out of people. 8 million of us already left the nation, and so many of them been killed and the city destroyed. We need help. It doesn't mean, though, that these people have to share the trenches with my soldiers. I would love to see them, but we understand the reality, the political reality. So if it is not the boots, let them be somewhere in the air. I don't know what the pilots are wearing.
Yeah, well, I don't think it's suggested that these troops from Britain or France or anywhere else in this coalition would join in the fight in the front line in the trenches. This, of course, is about being present to deter another Russian attack if and when there is a ceasefire. And Britain then talking about maybe not putting those boots in, but covering the air, guarding that ceasefire. And France talking about the UN taking the lead, not this coalition necessarily. Would that satisfy you?
That's probably the first best step, but I'm quite pessimistic about the role of the UN, especially with the Russia and China sitting on Security Council. So we have to be careful. I'm not expecting the blue helmets from Nepal coming to save the day here. What is actually also is important for us to see that being with us is also the sign of support, which helps Ukrainians to understand that we can be doing what we believe is needed to be done, because we still have our partners with us. If it is the air covered, that's something we asked 3 years ago to help to cover our cities. Because if you run out of Patriot missiles provided by United States, the missiles will start falling on our hands at a much different scale.
All right, Vadym Prystaiko, former Foreign Minister of Ukraine, thank you for coming on Drive this afternoon.